Good evening and welcome to Pelham City Middle School's Sharpie meeting number 1. What is a Sharpie meeting? Sharpie stands for Schools, Homes, or Respected Partners in Education. Last year we called it APTT for our current 7th graders. In a traditional setting, it would be an opportunity for other parents to get together with one another and teachers, discuss a foundational skill, learn an activity to improve that skill, see their child's current progress in that area, and set a SMART goal to improve. Why are we having Sharpie meetings? Well, we want to empower and support parents as they raise students during the most transitional time of their lives, which is middle school, and increase student achievement. It's a matter of time. In a traditional school year, students are away from school 55% of the time. This year, our students are away from school an even greater amount of time, so it is very important that we have your help at home. In today's meeting, we want you to understand Sharpie, learn a reading and math foundational skill, know your child's current progress in reading and math, practice take-home activities, and set a learning goal for your child. The reading foundational skill that we have chosen to focus on is reading comprehension. In order to comprehend what we read, students must be able to determine the meaning of words and phrases in text, use synonyms and antonyms, use context clues, understand and use analogies, understand and use idioms, make inferences, ask and answer questions, and determine the main idea, supporting details of text, and cite evidence from text. We currently measure your students' ability to comprehend by using the Reading Inventory. Reading Inventory is a computer-based assessment that measures a student's ability to read. It measures both text complexity and reading ability on the same scale. So what is a Lexile score? Well, it is a standard score that matches a student's reading ability with difficulty of text material. A Lexile measure can be interpreted as the level of book that a student can read with 75% comprehension. Experts have identified a 75% comprehension level as offering the reader a certain amount of comfort and yet still offering a challenge. Most Lexile scores appear in the range of 200 to 1700. However, some students score a BR, which is beginning reader. We now have a classroom data graph showing our students' Lexile scores by homeroom. Students have a number that indicates the Lexile that they scored. So for instance, on the envelope you've been given, if your student was number 10, we would look right here at our number 10 and we see that their current Lexile is a 761. This purple line is the end of year 6th grade benchmark, which is 997. The green line is the current benchmark, which is also the end of 5th grade, which is 920. And the blue bar is where your student currently is. For 7th grade, this is an example of Ms. Smith's homeroom class. There again, for 7th grade, the purple line is the end of the year 7th grade benchmark, which is 1045. The green line is the current benchmark, which is the end of 6th grade, which is 997. And the blue bar is your child's current Lexile level. So in this instance, if your student's number was 15, their Lexile would be 987. In addition to receiving the classroom graph for your student's homeroom, you also have your student's Lexile report that shows the progress they've made from last school year to this school year with their Lexile score. Remember, your student's number is on the label of your envelope and the classroom graph in front of their name. So our first activity that we have provided in your packet is a reading comprehension passage. You will receive 2 passages. One is focused on social studies and the other is on science. 6th graders have one set of passages while 7th graders have a different set of passages. This is a 6th grade passage and the title of it is Early People in the Central American Land Bridge. We'll begin reading and look at one of the questions. People have been living in Central and South America for many, many years now. How did ancient people live in this area thousands of years ago? Archaeologists studying the area of the Central American land bridge have been working to answer this question. What is the Central American land bridge? It is the land that is now the countries of Costa Rica and Panama. Like a modern bridge over a river, this land bridge was used by animals and people to travel back and forth. This Central American land bridge connects the northern land that is now Nicaragua, Mexico, and so on, to the southern land that is now Colombia, Brazil, and other South American countries. So you would continue reading the passage and then answer the questions. The first question asks, what is the Central American land bridge? Well, we read that right here in this paragraph. It is the land that is now the countries of Costa Rica and Panama. So I would read through my choices. A man-made bridge between North and South America. B, the ancient name for the country of Mexico. C, the land that is now the countries of Costa Rica and Panama. Or D, the flooded strip of land between Central and South America. Based on the content of the passage, we know that the answer is C, the land that is now the countries of Costa Rica and Panama. So you would continue reading the entire passage and the questions, going through each of the answer choices before selecting the answer that best answers the question. The last few questions are written response. The student should read the question and then write their response to the question. So one way that we practice skills at school is we do I do. The teacher explains and demonstrates the activity, which is what I just did. We do. The teacher and student practice it together. And then you do. The student practices by themselves. So in our Sharpie meeting, we have done the teacher explains and demonstrates the activity. The we do, if we were together, we would practice together. And then you do, we want you to take this home and practice with your family at home. Next, we're moving on to our foundational math skill. We have chosen to focus on multiplication for our 6th and 7th grade students. We chose this skill because math fact fluency is a life skill. It helps with other math skills. It is a grade level expectation, and it will empower you to be able to help your child at home. Multiplication is making equal groups of something. So in our example, we have some apples, and this is one group of 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. We have 2 sets of 3 in this example, which 2 times 3 is 6. And in this set, we have 3 groups of 3. So 3 times 3 would be 9. So the activity we have chosen for you to have at home is called Multiplication Madness. We have provided you with 2 pieces of paper, one that explains the game, and the other gives more information about the game, and then a tiny deck of cards. We are excited about the little cards we have given you. Of course, you can use regular playing cards or flashcards to also practice this Multiplication Madness activity. So in this activity, you would have 2 players. It can be a mom and student, dad and student, or 2 siblings or grandparents or aunts and uncles, anybody that wants to play the game. You divide the cards equally into 2 stacks face down, and then each player takes a stack of cards. The players turn over the card at the same time, and then players multiply the numbers on the 2 cards. The player slaps the cards and shouts the answer, and the player who slaps the card the fastest with the correct answer wins. In the event of a tie or a player says the incorrect answer, players leave the cards face down and let the stack build. You continue to play until all cards have been collected, and the player with the most cards at the end is the winner. So in this example, let's say we have 2 students. They turn over the cards. One is a number 5, and the other is the number 4. 5 times 4 is 20. So the first person to slap their hand and say 20 would be the winner of that match. Of course, you can use this to practice addition as well. However, in 6th and 7th grade, multiplication is more of our focus. So there again, we would do I do, we do, you do. I would model, showing you that we're going to turn over 2 cards. Let's say in this example, I turn over the numbers 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. I would slap my hand on the cards and say 6. And if I was correct, I would get to take that stack of cards. We do, if we were together, we would practice it together. And then you do. We want you to do this activity at home with your students to help build their multiplication fact fluency. Now it is time to set a SMART goal. What is a SMART goal? SMART goal means we want to start out with a specific goal of something we want our child to accomplish. We need it to be measurable. How are we going to know that your child has met the goal? Actionable. We need to create a plan outlining exactly how the goal will be reached. Realistic. We need to make sure that the goal is not too far to reach, but far enough to be challenging. And time bound. When do we want our child to meet this goal by? So now we'll look at our SMART goal sheet. For our first example, we talked about reading comprehension using our Lexile score. So we would think, today my child's Lexile score is, and by the next Sharpie meeting, I want my child's Lexile score to be what? So here it is. We want to be very specific. We're talking about Lexile score. We want it to be measurable, which we know we have the RI to measure our Lexile score. And we need it to be realistic. So if your student is currently in the 300 range, it would not be a realistic goal to set for them to achieve the 997 benchmark by our next meeting. And then it needs to be time bound. We're going to say by our next Sharpie meeting, which will be in February. Our action step would be to help my child reach this goal. So-and-so will practice with my child. How many number of days a week and how long each day? We would also do the same thing for multiplication. Now, with our multiplication, we have not given you a specific graph showing where your student currently is with specific multiplication. However, you can give them a quick little quiz on multiplication and see how many problems they get correct. And then you would set a goal based on that. So here's an example of a completed goal sheet. My child is I'm a sample, and today is November the 3rd, 2020. I'm working on my comprehension skill, and my current Lexile score is 900. So today, my child's Lexile score is 900. And by the next Sharpie meeting, I want my child's Lexile score to be 950. To help my student reach this goal, Grandpa Sample will practice with my child 2 days a week for 10 minutes each day. And for multiplication, I'm a sample currently has 20 out of 50 problems correct. So today, my child's multiplication accuracy is 20 out of 50. By the next Sharpie meeting, I want my child's multiplication accuracy to be 40 out of 50. To help my child reach this goal, Mom will practice with my child 3 days a week for 10 minutes each day. Remember, practice equals progress. We want to set a goal and we want to commit to practice. With this school year, we recommend that you practice at least 3 times per week for 5 to 10 minutes. However, we want to keep in mind that we want to make learning at home fun, especially when parents are working with their students. So our example here again is today, my child scored 20 out of 50, and by the next meeting, I want my child to score 40 out of 50. I'm going to commit to practicing 3 times a week, 10 minutes per day. So at this time, we're going to ask that you complete a Google form that you are able to fill out your SMART goal for your student. We also ask that you practice these activities at home and email us pictures of you doing these activities along with other at-home learning activities with your students. Those of you that submit email pictures and your Google form, you will be entered for a chance to win our family game night basket. If you have any questions about anything in this video, please contact Cindy Smith at csmith@pelham-city.k12.ga.us. You can also contact any of the 6th or 7th grade teachers or Miss Neesmith or Miss Ross at the middle school. We look forward to meeting with you again on February the 2nd for our second Sharpie meeting, and our third Sharpie meeting will be held on April the 13th. We hope you enjoy the activities that are sent home in your envelope. And if you have any questions, please reach out to anybody at Pelham City Middle School. Thank you again and have a great evening.